on this subject, addressing Singapore's key public housing problems, asset protection, affordability and access, a citizens' non-partisan policy proposal. Now that I've got my reading glasses on, I can't see all of you. Sorry to unload my aging woes on you. We're actually here to talk about the aging flats. Okay. My name is Kheng Chuan, or KC Chu, and I'm your moderator for this presentation organized by FOSG. I shall be introducing the speakers, and later on in the Q&A, I shall be facilitating the session. However, I've been additionally tasked to give an introduction to the subject of today's presentation as well. So let me alert you that my remarks are going to take more like 10 minutes than 1 minute. And so let me just go on to the agenda, the program. I'll begin by saying something about the organizer of this presentation, FOSG. FOSG, the Future of Singapore Forum, is a citizens' forum made up of concerned citizens who wish to contribute to the constructive, evidence-based, non-partisan public debate on key issues concerning our future, including the economy, social and global industrial policy, education, the arts, our regional environment, entrepreneurship, urban planning, and land use. We cover quite a lot of ground. And pardon me for reading from my script. The details are too important for me to speak extemporaneously. FOSG is convened and curated by veteran urban planner, architect, and public intellectual Kheng Chuan, and a group of concerned citizens. FOSG hopes to stimulate better understanding of the real issues facing Singapore today and in the future. Today's presentation is also co-hosted by the Wee Kim Wee Centre at SMU. I would like to say that while the Wee Kim Wee Centre has been most gracious in providing us the venue for today's session, FOSG is entirely responsible for the content of today's presentation. But do let me say something about the Wee Kim Wee Centre. The Wee Kim Wee Centre of SMU is dedicated to promoting cross-cultural and interdisciplinary dialogue within the SMU community and with the public about the major issues and challenges that attend to contemporary life. The late President Wee Kim Wee, after whom the Wee Kim Wee Centre in Singapore, at Singapore Management University is named, understood the value of critical dialogue between alternative perspectives, social and cultural diversity, civic engagement, and lifelong learning. It is in honor of these values and commitments that the Centre hosts and supports lectures, conferences, and publications. Now let me say something about the big picture of today's topic. Singapore has a stellar reputation in achieving the most extensive, high quality and successful national housing program in the world. The proposals that are presented today seek to address the key potential long-term crises in public housing and to improve upon them. There are two major problems facing public housing today. First, HDB flat owners have no security of tenure beyond 99 years, and the capital values of their flats will sharply diminish towards the end of the 99-year lease. As a result, their life savings will depreciate significantly as they age. As things currently stand, the value of HDB owners' flats will become zero at the end of their 99-year lease, unless they are fortunate enough to qualify for SERS midway. SERS refers to the Selective En Bloc Redevelopment Scheme, SERS. However, for the bottom 50% of income earners, the bulk of their net worth or the life savings is in the value of the HDB flat. For most of them, when their flats go beyond the 40 to 50-year mark, the value of HDB flats tends to decline rapidly, just when the owners need to capitalize on their flats' values to fund their retirement the most. Neither the proposed VERS, which stands for Voluntary Early Redevelopment Scheme, VERS, nor the current short lease flexi flats and the lease buyback scheme, LBS, adequately address this problem. Secondly, the current cost of HDB flats for first-time buyers of BTO flats relative to their income is very high, with the result that it typically takes now about 25 years for home buyers to pay off their housing loans. This effectively means that for the greater part of their working lives, many Singaporeans are channeling a significant part of their disposable income to paying off their HDB flats, leaving insufficient savings for retirement, medical expenses, and education upgrading. The problem is exacerbated for the lower irregular or uncertain incomes that makes home ownership difficult. The challenge we have, therefore, is to craft reform proposals which not only address the concerns identified above, but which are also affordable, fiscally responsible, and do not destabilize the existing housing market. To this end, the speakers propose 4 major reforms to public housing that will address these problems and greatly improve the well-being of all Singapore citizens. The 3 people who are the authors of the policy paper on which this presentation is based have the relevant and necessary domain knowledge to approach this complex problem. They come from the fields of real estate analysis and finance, economics, and urban planning and architecture. So we have from the real estate market analysis and finance domain, Mr. Ku Swee Yong. From the economist and social policy analyst perspective, we have Mr. Yeoh. And from the viewpoint of a veteran architect and urban planner, we have Professor Keong Soon. Let me give a brief introduction of our 3 speakers today. Mr. Ku Swee Yong is the key executive officer of International Property Advisors Private Limited in Singapore and an adjunct faculty of Singapore Management University and Ngee Ann Polytechnic. We're at Singapore National University and Ngee Ann Kong Si Auditorium. Bit of a coincidence. He was the director in the Real Estate Centre of Expertise at Societe Generale Private Banking, responsible for advising clients on real estate investments, the director of Marketing and Business Development at Seville Singapore, and the general manager at Far East Organization's Indonesia office. Swee Yong has written 5 books on the property market. Swee Yong studied at Imperial College London and the Institut Louis Pasteur at the University of Strasbourg in France. He then obtained his MBA from the University of Hull. Next, Keong Soon. Adjunct NUS professor, architect Keong Soon is one of the first locally trained architects graduating in 1963 from the Singapore Polytechnic School of Building and Architecture. The architecture school was then later relocated to NUS. So he is acutely concerned with the architecture and living environment, that architecture and living environment must be rooted in climate and culture while modernizing and humanizing people and place. He was the founding chairman of the Substation, the experimental center of the arts community. He was chairman of SPUR, Singapore Planning and Urban Research Group, in the 1970s, and later president of the Singapore Institute of Architects, receiving its gold medal in 2010. His design research extends beyond architectural scale to urban planning and finally to the global scale. He is a fellow of the World Academy of Art and Science and a member of the World Acoustics Society. Currently, he is convener of FOSG, the Future of Singapore Forum Group. Last but not least, as they like to say, Yeoh. Lam Keong is currently a private economics consultant and was an adjunct professor at the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, where he lectured on economics and social policy. He studied at the London School of Economics, where he obtained his bachelor's and master's degrees in economics. He has worked in the Economic Development Board and the Monetary Authority of Singapore, but he is best known as the former chief economist at GIC, a position he held for 10 years. In the course of investigating these issues and formulating the proposed solutions, the speakers and authors of the policy paper consulted widely with prominent economists, lawyers, investment professionals, academics, architects, property developers, as well as a number of ordinary HDB dwellers. So finally, we do not claim that these proposals are the last word on, or the final form of, the solutions to these difficult and complex problems of public housing in Singapore. However, we at FOSG has done our best to try to contribute a rigorous set of policy proposals that will hopefully serve as a starting point, a solid framework, and a firm foundation for public and policy considerations on these important issues that affect all citizens. Okay, I'm finally going to sit down. So now, to begin his presentation, I invite Mr. Ku Swee Yong to the podium. Swee Yong.